So the sender, Sebastian, asks a question to the receiver, Mr. Blurs, or the St. Louis manager, about who was on first base. That was the main message. Now, due to the fact the message was given out to Mr. Blurs, the receiver, the feedback was very confusing for Sebastian. Due to the fact the response was who was on first base or who exactly. This led up to being a repetitive answer most of the time. And this also led to the question of who was actually on first base. Now, due to the fact how the context was blurring or very confusing, because the actual answer was who from Mr. Blur's, the St. Louis manager, Sebastian was confused. So this led to a repetitive back and forth question about who was on first base, but the main context that was mostly missing was the real names of who was on first base. And then this led to the other portion, the other names of the players as well. Mostly who's on first base, but Mr. Blurs gave the other answers. I don't know who's on second, and I don't know who's on third. But this led to the answer to come back to third, or I don't know who's on third for the feedback. And it's been very confusing upon the sender, Sebastian, about Mr. Blur's answer or their feedback for how they did it in general. Now, if I was the team owner, I would go up to Mr. Blur's first. Well, mostly I think I would have gone to Sebastian's question first, mostly dealing with how the question was who was on first base, and then I would ask my own personal question about the name of who was on first base. For example, I will use my verbal communication skills to at least say Mr. Blurs, or whatever the name would have been during that time. What Mr. Sebastian wanted to know for the message was what are the actual names of the team players for who was on first base. Now I know that you know them as who is on first or who, but Mr. Sebastian is very confused upon knowing who first name or their real name is. And then I would go on to Sebastian if I found out the actual name or the feedback to Mr. Blur's answer or for the question itself that I've asked. Now I know that the analytical skills are pretty good, but I think it was just the verbal communication in general due to the fact that it was miscommunication of the message itself that Sebastian had, which was who was on first base. Now, if I talk to Sebastian or Mr. Sebastian, one or two, just Sebastian for right now, I would say that Mr. Blur only knew first base as who was on first base. And I know the other team players, I don't know who's on second, and I don't know who's on third, or odd names, but for how our team is, we only go by the nicknames that we've been given due to the fact that who was on first base was who. I understand that you're very confused about our names of how first base, second base, and third base's names are. But for right now, the best thing I can explain is that who is the real name of first base name in general, their real name. I know it's very confusing, but just have to take it. So, for making it easier for both of them, Mr. Sebastian or Sebastian and Mr. Blurs, the St. Louis Wolves manager, I would use my verbal communication and nonverbal communication to at least show how I'm trying to solve their problems or resolve an issue that they have. For example, it was just the context of the real name of who was on first base. So I would use the active listening skills or my verbal and nonverbal plus active listening skills and negotiation skills to at least solve how or exactly resolve most of the issues about the question or the message in general. And then if the feedback is going to become something of the context being very confusing between Mr. Sebastian or Sebastion and Mr. Blurs, I'll just resolve it that way. I'm not sure how exactly, but I think if I use that in listening skills and then I use my decision making skills to at least try to find some way to get around the main question between, or the message between who is on first base, and the feedback being something like it's who for Mr. Blurs for a feedback. Well, I try my best to intervene and fix it again if I need to. So, not sure, but it will work somehow between Mr. Sebastian and Mr. Blurs. Really don't know though. We'll find out.